Good morning, BBF family. This week I've been meditating on Psalm 5, and Psalm 5 was written by King David, and he wrote this psalm basically as a morning prayer during a very troubled time in his life. And he was troubled because he had godless enemies who were a threat to him. And you can read about these godless enemies as you read through this psalm. But this psalm is a wonderful psalm for us to read when we go through times of trouble or distress. And I love the way that David ends this psalm in verses 11 and 12. He says, "But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them ever sing for joy. And spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may exalt in you. For you bless the righteous, O Lord. You cover him with favor as with a shield." What a wonderful call for us to trust in God as our refuge and our shield in times of trouble, in times of distress. But I was sort of struck by a phrase that David uses in verse 11, and this phrase has sort of stuck with me this week, and that's where he says, "Let all who take refuge in you ever sing for joy." Why does he call those who take refuge in God to sing? Well, I believe it's because our praise for God does not reach its fullest expression until we sing it. In fact, you see this consistently with the people of God throughout the ages. They are a singing people, singing their praises to God. First with the Jews, and in fact, Psalms is basically their hymn book of praises. And even to this day with Christians, that we are a singing people. We sing our praises to God. It would be inconsistent, for example, for us to whisper our praises to God. It would be inconsistent for us to talk our praises to God in a boring, monotone voice. No, if you truly understand who God is, then you must sing to Him your praises, because singing is where it finds its fullest expression. And I have to admit, that's one of the things that I miss most about being able to gather together as a church on Sunday morning, is singing praises with you as a church family. You may not miss singing praises with me, given my lack of musical talent, but I certainly miss singing praises with you. But let me encourage you, just because we're not gathering corporately to sing on a Sunday morning in the meantime, that you can still be singing praises to God. And to that end, I'd encourage you, if you haven't already, to try doing some form of family worship at home that includes singing. In fact, I've posted an article here on this Facebook page that would help you set up that family time of worship. And I'd encourage you to read that article for its detail and for the resources that it links to. But basically, they suggest a very simple format for doing family worship at home. And believe me, simplicity is your friend if you are going to do family worship at home. And brevity is your friend as well. I don't think that you would want to do your family worship for too long. And I would urge you not to see it as sort of a legalistic thing that you must do every night. Perhaps you start by doing it one night a week. But the format that they recommend has three parts to it. The first part is to read Scripture, and perhaps you read through the Psalms. Or perhaps you do what my family has done a couple of times, and that is to read through the Proverbs. It doesn't matter what reading format you choose, but to read some Scripture and explain the Scripture. Secondly, the second format is to pray, and I would encourage you to model your prayers as a family after the prayers that we find in Scripture. Prayers for our government, prayers for the spread of the gospel, prayers for those in need. And obviously the Lord gave us a model for prayer that we can find in the Gospels and in the Lord's Prayer that we can use as well. And then the third part of this format is to sing. to sing as a family. And perhaps it's just one song or a part of a song. Sing a praise song that your family is familiar with, and you can sing it a cappella. And maybe you could use this time to introduce your family to new songs of the faith. Maybe you introduce your family to some of the really good and rich hymns of the faith. One of the blessings that my family has had when we've done this is that not only can we sing those songs, but we can stop afterwards or beforehand and talk about what the words of the song actually mean, and that's been a real blessing to us. And so I'd encourage you, BBF family, that even though we're not singing together, we can still be singing our praises to God in some format. And I'd encourage you to continue to pray as well. And this week, I would ask for you to pray for the leaders of our church board, as we try to wisely sort through all the issues that are related to the restrictions due to this coronavirus, that with wisdom we would know how to start up church again when it's safe, our gathering of the church when it's safe, and what sort of format that would take. Pray that we can use our resources wisely, perhaps to help meet some sort of need within the community. Pray that we can still accomplish the mission of this church despite being in lockdown. And of course, our mission is to evangelize the world, to edify believers and to equip them for service. And so we would greatly appreciate your prayers on our behalf as we look at those things in the days ahead. And so thank you for praying, BBF family. Thank you for loving Christ. Thank you for loving each other. And thank you for hoping in God. May God bless you this week.